Thanks everyone for joining here. My name is Srinivas Jinka. Go by short name JC. I'm from Gemini Consulting Company. I have my colleague Anita, who will be presenting about cross-browser testing and automation. I have one more colleague on Teams. He's an expert from our team, so if there are any questions, one of us will
make your way to the demo space.
That said, Anita,
welcome to SMARTFest.
Thanks, JC. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Anita Merin-Varki, and I am the functional delivery head for finance and HCM teams out of Gemini. So to get started with, I'm sure that when you have a product, you always need to ensure that it is a defect-free product and it is of high quality. So with that regard, we come across the terminology testing. So in this session, we would like to concentrate more on the concept of cross-browser testing. And I'm sure pretty much from the terminology, it's kind of easily understood browser testing. So this session, we want to concentrate more on what is the importance of cross-browser testing, what are the kind of tools that we use, advantages, a little sneak peek into the importance of mobile automation testing, Gemini's testing capability to give you all an idea regarding the same. So this is the first slide to get started with test automation. So Gemini's approach and principle. You see that little pyramid, the bottom of the one, unit testing. This is a most familiar terminology, unit testing, where the developers develop the code and the kind of set of functionalities that they do have. They perform the first round of testing, and that's called the unit testing. So this is mainly to ensure just the the initial functionality looks and it looks perfectly fine. The second level comes on to the service level testing, where we have the actual QA experts who perform the testing in the middleware or the backend services. You have the databases and so on. And the third one comes the user interface testing, where we ensure to work closely with the business users to exercise the system's functionality from the user's perspective. So when we have the look and feel of a browser to see if the fonts, the links, the tabs, if they all work perfectly from the user interface testing. So with all these, we ensure that the right set of tools and processes are being followed. Or if a customer approaches with their own recommended tools, we assess them and we provide our solutions accordingly. And more importantly, the main approach or the principle is that we align our design and developmental practices based on the industry's best practices, which is where the most success lies. Now, this is a quick overview on how the testing is being categorized as testing coverages and functional coverage. These are little topics that I can quickly walk through. First of all, functional, which is easily understood that you do a lot of end-to-end testing, right from the login to the end of the screen. The high-level overview of the functionality works fine or not. Then coming on to the web applications, you have several web applications in place, and you do the overall functional integration testing and so on. And the most important, mobile devices, where we are all familiar with, you have a lot of operating systems in place, which is iOS, Android. So it is highly essential that you do a thorough native and you do a round of testing on the native and hybrid apps. You do parallel execution on the real-time devices, and you get the actual look and feel of to see how they behave while we perform the testing. And then comes on the user interface, which I just explained in the previous slide, that you sit with the business users, see how the actual functionality like the fonts, the pixels, buttons, and work upon. Now, coming on to the functional side, we have categorized into 3 divisions called user interface, which comes more broader into the functional aspect. Like you check the visual testing, how compatible the browsers are across cross-platform. All that thorough testing comes into the user interface. When coming onto the mobile, you have a thorough device compatibility testing. There are a lot of devices in market. So you actually come inside and see how the usability and so on. And then coming on to the user acceptance. So here you actually plan for the user acceptance testing, where you have a set of predefined test cases that you would have defined with the business end users. You assess them. If you have a project coming up, you take the decision of no go if, to see if it all works fine. and then coming on to the final UAT sign-off. So this is an overall idea of how we have categorized the testing into. This is just to give you a look and feel of the Gemini's testing automation expertise. We have a lot of tools being categorized here. We have almost 20 plus dedicated testing members who comes with different background of their thorough knowledge and helps in improving the testing capability of Gemini. So you can see all sorts of testing tools. In fact, there are pretty more number. We could just accommodate these many here, but I'm sure it will help you give or introduce you into some of the tools that we have in place. Now, why do we actually think cross-browser testing is really important? Now, coming on to the user interface testing, this stats is based on the 2023 recent one. 60.9% of website traffic comes actually from mobile devices. And I'm sure that you all must be wondering what would really people be doing on mobile devices, and it's actually gaming. That is what has been found out, that people really spend a lot of time on mobile devices. And then coming on to 92.1% of users access the internet using mobile phone, 4.32 billion active mobile internet users, and it's been said that over 1 billion 5G connections will be worldwide by 2025. So from all these, you can definitely come to a conclusion on why cross-browser testing is important. And it should be also nice to take a look into why don't we do an automation on mobile app testing. It would definitely do a lot of help on covering a lot of test cases and so on. So with this, just would like to give you an overview on the business advantages of why do we conduct cross-browser testing. I'm pretty sure whenever a business, when they end up having, they will have their end users with a lot of operating systems. They will have iOS, they will have Android, and it's pretty expensive for them to buy all sorts of gadgets and do testing on the real-time devices. There comes the cross-browser testing. We really save time and cost. In the upcoming slides, I can give you a look and feel of how these tools really look like. How can we perform testing to ensure we can enhance user experience, improve their efficiency. We can even anticipate any of the web app issues and help fix them. You can even understand any possible pitfalls, expect the functionalities are working as per desire. So these are some of the reasons why we feel cross-browser testing should be conducted. So there are, in fact, a lot of tools. We would like to introduce the top 3, which is based out of our own experiences, and we would recommend. First and foremost, Browser Stack. This is one of the tools which we even use in WCM for performing any sort of browser testing. And this is one of the cloud-based platform that you can perform on all sorts of iOS and Android. Coming on to Bitbar is also another flexible cloud-based platform where you didn't even maintain a device lab. And then comes the Lambda test, which is also another flexible cloud-based platform where automated tests can be even performed on Lambda test. So this would give you a comparison of how the look and feel of all these 3 tools are. Considering the concepts like how easy is to deploy, what is the kind of performance, how easy is it to use, if you have to debug any sorts of your scripts, the integration with third-party apps, you can get a real overview of, based on our experiences, this is how we would recommend. And I'm sure with that, we have come to a conclusion that Browser Stack has indeed helped. With that being said, Lambda test and Bitbar have their own unique features and functionalities. So this would, I'm sure, would give you an overall idea of comparison between all these 3 tools. So coming on to Browser Stack, it indeed supports 700 browsers. In fact, even more. We can get 24/7 customer support option. If you have your developers developing something and in the middle of that, they need to approach for some questions, we can always go to Browser Stack support team because they are available 24/7. We can it's even supportable for open source projects, so it's easy to access. And in fact, it has seamless integration with project management tools like Jira Microsoft Teams, so which are some of the most commonly used tools. So if you have any user who wants to report any defects via Jira or Microsoft Teams, you can actually just add an image and it can get connected to browser stack and it makes it very user friendly. So these are some of the highlighted advantages of browser stack. So to get some understanding of how do usually people test on using these tools, because we are not really testing them on real-time devices, but in the form of simulator, emulator, and so on. So this is how the browser stack looks like. Like for example, we have concentrated on this image on iOS, iPhone. You have a lot of versions available. So basically, it is being listed out, with all sorts of categories that we have here. We will have, users using different sorts of iPhones with different versions and so on. So this would be how the real-time emulator device looks like, and we don't need a physical device handy, but we can do all that on the browser and do effective testing. Some images that we have captured so everyone gets to understand how these are really being tested. And then we also have an image where it shows as an Android device. So like I said, browser stack is one of the tools that we use in WCM. One of the best practice that the team follows is that you test the version, the highest version minus the next two. So you go into that thorough level of testing to see that even the prior versions are being considered, so that you're not losing any of the existing functionality. So we heard about cross-browser testing, and like I said, I also wanted to introduce you about mobile automation testing. And APM is one of the tools that we use for mobile automation testing. So APM is another open source test automation framework to validate any native web and hybrid mobile applications like iOS, Android, and so on. Now, again, why do we really look for a test automation tool, right? Because we can easily carry them manually, but there are a lot of challenges behind that. Like if you have a version, like business came out with a newer version, you carry out their testing, but it would always be better if you have predefined test cases, so you really do not need a manual effort there. If you have an automated test, you can ensure you just log into the system, you execute those pre-existing test cases. So the system itself carries out all the tests and we get at the end result if it is a pass or a fail and so on. So that way, with the current versions, we are also ensuring the prior functionalities are also being tested well. So these are some of the features that you can see why or what do we really look in for a test automation tool. So of course, it should be easy development. It should be, of course, reusable, scalable, and ability to detect the bugs even faster. So these are some of the reasons why we really feel that we should go in for a mobile automation. So APM, like I said, is one of the tools where a developer really needs to have a good skill to write script. And because if you have already predefined set of scripts ready, it's of course reusable. For any instances, you can always use them. It has multi-language support. Various languages can be written over this platform, easy to install. And if you have a new app being installed, you really do not require any additional agents to be installed on that. You don't need all that. And of course, it supports on any other physical devices or simulator and emulator and so on. These are some of the advantages of why, based on our experiences, that we think and feel APM is one of the best mobile automation testing tool. Now, coming to the conclusion, would like to give you an overall idea of what Gemini's Testing Center of Excellence really are capable enough of. We have a highly skilled team and experts. In the prior slide that you would have seen 20 plus testing team members who come up with various expertise. The main aim or the focus would be to ensure that we execute manual testing for any complex scenarios, but at the same time, we focus on automation testing by taking care of the existing test cases. And with that way, we can even provide, the results to the business even early stages That way we can save time, we can even cut any budget for any project that we are looking for, and of course, with the main motive of providing better performance and better results. So this is what the main aim or the motive of Gemini Testing Center of Excellence that I just wanted to highlight here. I hope with that, you would all have had a good and an understanding of what cross-browser testing is, the kind of tool that we would use here, the kind of look and feel of the actual tool, so that the developers really use to test the actual functionality. And with that way, a thorough user level testing has been performed. So with that, I would like to conclude. Thank you.